Okay, good morning. Today we're going to be covering a very important essay. After reading the 4 stories that we read from Edgar Allan Poe, The Fall of the House of Usher, The Black Cat, The Telltale Heart, and The Castle of Amontillado, now we're going to come up to an essay from a guy named Stephen King. This guy is going to write a very important essay, short essay, and his point in his essay will be to explain why people crave horror movies. Why us pay our $5 or $10 to go to the theater and get scared by watching a horror movie. If you look at the majority of the people like to watch horror movies. There's not a lot of people that you could go to that person and say, do you like a horror movie? And that person is going to say, no. The percentage is very low. The majority, they do like horror movies. So King, a guy that is in the environment of horror movies, is going to write an essay asking the question why we crave horror movies, and he's going to try to explain it in his way. That you don't agree, that's up to you. You don't need to agree. You're not forced to agree, but if you do, no one else. Highlighter, no one else. Diego. Okay, so let's begin on our essay, short essay. This essay is basically 2 pages long. On why we crave horror movies. My volunteer to read. Go ahead, Maria.
Why we crave horror movies. I think that we're all mentally ill. Those of us outside this asylum only hide it a little better. And maybe not all better, much better, after all.
Okay, stop there. Stephen King is going to begin his essay with a thesis statement. Thesis statement. Very important, this thesis statement. As you read these first lines, what do you think? What can you identify as a thesis statement? Thesis statement is?
The first 3.
Which one? I'm gonna give you a definition of thesis statement. Write it down in your notes. Thesis statement is none other than the sentence in your text that contains the focus of your essay. The thesis statement is the sentence on your work that focus what the essay is going to be about. The main focus of the essay will be on that thesis statement, the most important sentence in our essay. Now that you know the definition, what can be a possible, what will be the thesis statement? What?
The first sentence.
What it says, read it out loud.
I think that we're all mentally ill. Those of us outside the asylums only hide it a little better.
Okay, right away, his thesis statement, write it down, will be, I think that we are all mentally ill. I think that we're all mentally ill. That will be our thesis statement. Now you're gonna know. You're gonna ask this question after you know the thesis statement. You're gonna write the word why. You're gonna ask the question why. Every time you find a thesis statement, you're gonna ask the question why after it. Paula, read the thesis statement again.
I think that we're all mentally ill.
No, stop there. I think that we're all mentally ill, right there. Now ask your question, why? Why does he think that we're all mentally ill? That's gonna be the structure of the essay. The main goal of our essay will be to explain what is the thesis statement. I'm sorry, not what is the thesis statement because you have it. Why we are mentally ill. That's the purpose. It's going to explain why we are mentally ill. That's a way for you guys to work with thesis statements. Every time you have an essay will always include a thesis statement. That sentence, that is going to be the back column, the vertebral column of an essay, thesis statement. Very important. I'm going, Marina.
We've all known people who talk to themselves.
Of course we do. How many people we know that talk to themselves?
I do.
Sometimes you talk to yourselves, and by the way, because you talk to yourselves, that doesn't mean that you're crazy. So if someone else tells you, what the heck you're doing, you're crazy, there's nothing wrong with that. Okay, go ahead. By the way, asylum. What is an asylum? Asylum, listen up. Asylum is a place or a hospital where people that are mentally ill are placed. Remember, maintenance from our vocabulary from home. Okay, very important. Go ahead, Maria.
People who sometimes squinch their faces into horrible grimaces when they believe no one is watching.
Have you seen like people walking around and they do like funny faces when they think that no one is looking at them, and like you're looking at this person and what the heck is, what's wrong? And they're doing like funny faces and you're like, seriously? What the? Go ahead.
People who have a hysterical fear of snakes, the dark, the tight place, the long drop. And of course, those final worms and groans that are waiting so patiently underground.
If you ask me what is one of the best paragraphs from this essay that I like the most, is the first one. What is the purpose? That's why people always tell you, what is the first paragraph in this essay? The what? Introduction. So our first paragraph, write it down or mark it next to your essay. That's your introduction. All that paragraph, the first paragraph. From the beginning to underground. From I think we're all mentally ill all the way to underground. What is the purpose of the introduction? To what? Just to inform. That's it.
Or to tell us what you tell in your own words what you write.
Okay. Introduction.
What you
I'm gonna give you a random definition of what is the purpose of the introduction. Introduction / line, whatever you want to do. Introduction is none other than The paragraph in the essay that is going to serve as a hook in your essay. The introduction is your hook. That introduction is going to dictate whether I'm reading your essay, and once I finish at the end with underground, either I'll do this, see ya, I'm not reading this again, or I do this and I go to the next paragraph because I got hooked with the introduction. That's why your introduction always will include a strong thesis statement, because that's your hook to get into it and continue reading on. Same in Spanish than in English. Same. That's your hook there. That's what is going to attract you. It's like, for example, when you go to the theater and you're watching the trailers, and you watch a trailer of a movie and you're like, wow, I want to watch that movie. What does the trailer, that 30-second trailer, what is the purpose of it? Persuade, get you hooked to say, next Thursday I'm going to pay another 10 or 12 bucks to come back to the theater. Come back to the movies because I love that trailer. Same thing with the introduction. So if you want to compare the introduction with a movie trailer, you could do so. Go ahead.
When we pay our $4 or $5 and seat ourselves at the 10th row center in a
Oh, my bad, Marina. I'm sorry. Some of the fears. You got hysterical fears of snakes. There's a lot of people that fear snakes. There's a lot of animals that you guys fear. Snakes, bees. You can fear spiders, cockroaches. There's a lot of you that fear the dark. There's a lot of you that cannot sleep. There's a lot of you that once they do this, you'll get scared. And a lot of you are gonna get a little light. And you're gonna have a little light in your room because heck no, I'm not sleeping in the dark. For X, Y reason. Either you saw a movie that traumatized you or whatever, okay? Now, other people are what is called claustrophobic. And a person that is claustrophobic is a person that cannot be in like tight places. Elevators, bathrooms are closed. Stairs, like closed stairs, but it could be. Public bathrooms. Hey, there's a lot of people that when you're in a line, they cannot be in long lines, like with people close to them. Hey, fascinating how it ends. And of course, those final worms and grubs that are waiting so patiently underground. Now, put it on your words. What is Stephen King saying right here with the worms that are waiting for you underground? They're fearing death. A lot of people, you tell them, look at this right now. That sentence, if you read it literally, you're like, oh, probably you're afraid of the worms. But if you think outside the box, you're gonna come up with the answer that is that you're fearing death. You know how many people you could ask right now, are you fearing that you will soon die or at some point will die? And they will tell you, heck yes, I do fear it. I fear that at some point I'm gonna die. There's a lot of people. They cannot think about death because they get frustrated, they get nervous, they cannot sleep. Their heart starts beating fast, and that's a normal reaction of fear of what's happening with death. Okay? Marina, I'm sorry, go ahead.
When we pay our $4 or $5 and seat ourselves at a 10th row center in the theater showing a horror movie, we are daring the nightmare. Why? Some of the reasons are simple and obvious. To show that we are not afraid, that we can ride this roller coaster.
Okay. When we pay the bucks to go to the theater, we are daring the nightmare. We know. And it's like we know that we're going to dream about the movie, but forget about it. I want to go see the movie. Even though I know I need to tell my friend, in the case of the girls, you tell your friends, you know what? Come home, I talk to my mom, and you'll stay home so we can sleep together because I'm not sleeping alone tonight.
Yeah.
If you have a brother or a sister, you're like, sleep with me because I'm not sleeping alone. No, no way. Why? Because you're fear. However, then why you go and watch the movie if you know you're going to get fear at night? Also, to show that we're not afraid, that could be another explanation. I look like I'm crying, but I'm not. It's allergy.
You don't like horror movies?
Yes, I do. I'm crying because of the horror. There's a lot of people that want to just show to themselves, I'm not afraid. I will watch the movie. And a lot of people are willing to take the roller coaster. It's not that you're going to go to Disney and get on a roller coaster. No, it's not that. Don't take it literal. Is that once you're going to watch a horror movie, you know once you get to your theater and you're so emotional with your little popcorn and your soda and you're walking to the stairs and you sit down and you're watching the movie and you start watching the trailer, you're eating right there and the movie starts and the fear and you're like eating more popcorn and you start grabbing the one next to you. The roller coaster of emotions that go along with watching a horror movie. It's like the roller coaster of emotions when you go to a game, when you go to a concert, but it's totally different. The emotions in a horror movie, totally different.
Which is not to say that a really good horror movie may not surprise or scream out of us at some point. The way we may scream when the roller coaster twists through a complete 360 or flows through a lake at the bottom of the drop. And horror movies, like roller coasters, have always been the special improvements of the young.
Stop there. The way of a roller coaster, the way you scream in a roller coaster is totally not the same when you scream in a horror movie. The roller coaster is a scream of excitement, of adrenaline. The one of the horror movie is one of, I'm scared off my pants. Really scared. They're not. No, they're not. Okay, very important. Who gets to go on a roller coaster? The young. You see people 40, 50 getting on roller coasters, but they're not a lot. If they go with the family, they say, you know what, I'll stay down and I'll watch the book bags and the little kids. You guys could go. So the people that go in advanced age, not a lot. I'm not saying that they don't, because they do. But not a lot of them dare to go on roller coasters. Okay? Go ahead.
And horror movies like roller coasters have always been the special preference by the young. By the time one turns 40 or 50, one's appetite for double twist or 360 loops may be considerable depleted.
Depleted, that means that it fades, that it goes away. Like once you get to 40, 50, 60, like that anxiousness of getting on a roller coaster is like depleting, winding down. Okay, go ahead.
We also go to reestablish our feelings of essential normality. The horror movie is innately conservative, even reactionary.
Okay, I'll finish that one right there.
Frida Jackson as the horror romantic woman in Die, Monster Die, confirms us that no matter how far we may be removed from the beauty of Robert Redford or Diana Ross, we are still light years from true ugliness.
Okay. He's also saying that some people go to watch horror movies to just think and convince themselves that they're normal, that their society, bless you, is normal. All of the things that happen every single day, the killing, the murder, the drugs, and all of that, when you go to a horror movie, for example, have you been able to go and watch Saw movies? When you watch Saw movies and you see the way how nuts those people are, you're watching that movie. That's what King is saying right here. You're watching that movie and you're saying, whoa, our society is not that nuts. So that's why you go to just simply understand our society is good, because we're not in that type of behavior. Listen up. I'm going to tell you something. Anything that your mind is able to think about. Sometimes you think about crazy stuff. And you're like, I just thought about it, but that will never happen. Guess what? If your mind thought about it, it's possible. So everything that you think, as crazy and as nuts as it looks, probably someone on the other side of the world already thought about it. Google anything down, as stupid as you want, and I'm gonna guarantee you that 99.9% of what you Google will appear. Why? If you thought about it, in the other side of the world, already other people are thinking about it. So that's not something that you came up with it. And even though you came up to it, I guarantee you, it's possible that it could be done. So anything your mind thinks, it could be done. Go ahead.
And we go to have fun.
And we go to have fun, to entertain themselves. Like we just, even though we're gonna get scared, we want to have fun. And we want to have fun watching the rest getting scared. There's a lot of you that love, for example, your father, your mother, your sister, your friend, your girlfriend, your boyfriend doesn't like horror movies. But by some means, today's your birthday. So that person's gonna say, well, I'll go with you, and you're gonna be sitting down, eating popcorn, enjoying the movie, but more enjoying that person being scared. Go ahead.
But this is where the ground starts to slip away, isn't it? Because this is a very particular sort of fun indeed. The fun comes from seeing others' menace.
Very important. The fun is different. The fun from seeing other ones like Fear, and the fun that's seen on the screen, people killing other people, people murdering other people, people chopping off other people. That's a different type of fun.
Zombies eating them.
Okay, zombies eating others, yes.
When in a horror movie someone runs and trips over nothing, that's also fun for me.
Trips over nothing, and right there it gets them. And either the zombies eat them, or they'll chop them off with a chainsaw.
Or a machete.
It could happen. That's a different type. And look at this. He's going to give you two examples, a comparison of two things. Go ahead, Maria.
Our critic has suggested that if a pro football has become the voyeur version of combat.
Number one, he's going to compare pro football. Write it down. A voyeur is a person that gains pleasure. Voyeur is a person that gains pleasure by watching something. So number one, pro football. And what he says with pro football, that is a modern version of combat. What do they do in football, in football? Not in soccer, in American football. They hit each other, they slam them to the floor, they tackle, and that's a way of combat. And on the other hand, what is the other one? Then the horror film has become the modern version of the public lynching. So he's comparing pro football with horror movies, okay?
¿Y qué fue la otra de public así?
The public comeback.
También la está comparando.
No, he's saying that football is comeback, public comeback, and that horror movies are the example of watching people lynching or killing each other.
I was gonna ask what was
Go ahead.
Is it true that the myth, fairy tale, horror film intends to take away the shades of gray? It urges us to put away our more civilized and adult penchant for analysis and to become children again.
Penchant is, write it down, penchant is tendency. Tendency. Like an inclination towards something. What?
Seeing things in pure blacks and whites. It may be the horror movies provides physical relief in the level because of this invitation to laugh into simplicity. Simplicity irrationally, and even outright madness is extended so rarely.
So he tells you also that probably a horror movie is going to give you a psychic relief. Like you're going to be relaxed by watching a horror movie. You could be stressed out and you go watch a horror movie and you're going to be relaxed, even though before you were stressed out. Go ahead.
We are told we may allow our emotions of free reign, or no reign at all. If we are all insane, then sanity becomes a matter of degree.
If we're all insane, it depends how we see it. Some people think that other people are more insane, less insane. Depend on the perspective of the person. Go ahead.
If our insanity leads you to carve up women like Jack and the Ripper or the Cleveland Thurston murder, we clap.
Those are two very famous murders. So when you have the opportunity to look for those two murders, okay?
We clap you away in the funny farm. But neither of those two amateur night surgeons was ever caught. If on the other hand your insanity leads you only to talk to yourself when you're under stress or to pick your nose on your morning bus, then you are left alone to go about your business. Through it is doubtful that you will ever be invited to the best parties.
Right there is saying like those people that act differently, that like different stuff and rare stuff, are sometimes like pushed away.
We are.
Go ahead.
The potential lyncher is in almost all of us.
Oh, very important. That potential killer is inside each and every one of us, according to King.
Excluding saints past and present, but then
It's excluding saints, but you know things that have happened with priests and people that are in the church.
But the most saints have been crazy in their own ways. And every now and then, he has to be let loose to scream and roll around in the grass. Our emotions and our fears form their own body. And we recognize that it demands its own exercise to maintain proper muscle tone.
So our emotions and our fears, when he says that it demands its own exercise to maintain proper muscle tone, that means that you are the one that have to keep your emotions and your fears in check, control. If you don't practice getting your emotions and controlling them, you're gonna get emotional every time, and you're gonna get scared every time, you're gonna get mad every time. So it's on your own to control yourself. Go ahead.
Certain of these emotional muscles are accepted, even exhaled. In a civilized society, they are, of course, the emotions that tend to maintain the status quo of civilization itself.
And there are some things that are looking to maintain civilization normal and regular as it is, and he's going to give you examples now. Go ahead.
They are, of course, the emotions and sentiments de opus. Love, friendship, loyalty, kindness. They're all the emotions that we apply.
Everyone applauds love, friendship, loyalty, kindness, because for our society, those are good qualities or emotions.
Emotions that we have been immortalized in the couplets of Hallmark cards and in the verses.
They're so applauded and accepted that we even go to whatever pharmacy and we can buy it in a little card and we'll give it to our friends or family members that says I love you, you're a great friend, whatever, because it had been accepted throughout the world. Go ahead.
I don't care, call it poetry of Leonard Nimoy. When we inhabit these emotions, society showers us with a positive reinforcement.
Every time that we show these emotions, society says, "Oh, that's so sweet, that's so great."
We learn this is even before we get out of our diapers. When, as children, we hug our rotten little puke of a sister and give her a kiss. All the aunts and uncles smile and twist and cry. Isn't he the sweetest little thing? Such coveted treats as chocolate-covered graham crackers often follow.
Every time you do something good, what do? They give you a cookie. They give you a lollipop. Hey, when you were little, remember when you went to the dentist? Isn't that ironic? You go to the dentist and they have like little lollipops. Like you came to watch you clean your teeth and everything, but use the lollipops. You can eat it and you can come back again. Ironically, but it's the reality. Everywhere they give you, because you're doing things correctly, they're what? They're persuading you to do things correctly. Go ahead. But if we
deliberately slam the rotten little peak of a sister's fingers in the door, sanctions follow.
What happens? If we walk around and our little sister, her hand is right there, and we smash the door, what happens? You're gonna have big time problems after it. Go ahead.
Sanctions follow. Angry mistress from parents, aunts and uncles, instead of chocolate-covered grandparents, a spanking.
Mm-hmm.
But anti-civilization emotions don't go away. They demand periodic exercise. We have such sick jokes as, what if the difference between a truckload of bowling balls and a truckload of dead babies? You can't unload a truckload of bowling balls with a pitchfork. A joke, by the way, that I heard originally from a 10-year-old. Such a joke may surprise a laugh or a grin out of us even if we recoil, a possibility that confirms the thesis. If we share a brotherhood of man, that we also share an insanity of man.
So everyone shares the same insanity. It's just asleep, waiting to be awakened. Go ahead. None of which
is intended as a defense of either the sick joke or insanity, but merely as an explanation of why the best horror films, like the best fairy tales, manage to be reactionary, anarchistic, or revolutionary all at the same time. The mythic horror movie, like The Sick Joke, has a dirty job to do. It deliberately appeals to all that is worth in us. It is morbidly unchained, our most base instincts let free, our nastiest fantasies realized, and it all happens gingerly enough in the dark. For those reasons, good liberals often shy away from the horror films.
So that's why, since a lot of people don't like this stuff, like some people, that's why they just don't go to the theater to watch horror movies. Go ahead. Those are what he's calling good liberals. Go ahead.
For myself, I like to see the most aggressive of them. Dawn of the Dead, for instance, as lifting a trap door in the civilized forebrain and throwing a basket of raw meat to the hungry alligators, swimming around in that suburban river beneath. Why bother? Because it keeps them from getting outland. It keeps them down there and me up here. And the Lennon and McCarthy who said that all you need is love and would agree with that. As long as you keep the greater spend.
So basically, that's Stephen King's statement of why people crave horror movies. That's his point of view. That's his opinion. That you agree, that you don't agree, that's up to you because you're free to decide what you like and what you don't like. So basically, that will be it on our Stephen King essay, Why We Crave Horror Movies. Thank you.